Do you guys know the number one way to stop the spread of libtardization around the world? It is, of course, by tuning in to the Vince Dao Show. So it's great to see you here. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao, and before I begin, everyone be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new, which, by the way, did you guys get notifications for the stream? Okay, now, see, it says 56 viewers. It started the stream, and it said there was 1 viewer waiting and like 3 likes, and I was very confused. Okay, good to see you guys all in here now. I don't know what was going on earlier with YouTube. You know, they're constantly messing with the streams, okay? Brandon, the Matrix, all the forces, they never want us to have a normal show, okay? Either they have to take out the Wi-Fi, take out the audio. They... See what they try to do there? Every single time, but they will not shut us down. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. We got a great show for you tonight. First and foremost, Donald Trump, the next president, some are saying of the United States, perhaps, went out and made a number of speeches this weekend. We're going to react to some of those highlights, give you my thoughts on that. Also, Hunter Avallone now considering Christianity. I'm serious about that. He's considering Christianity. He's calling out some of the things on his own side. It is a very interesting character arc. He got divorced. He's free from that woman. Is he coming home now? It is very interesting to see. We will talk about that. Also, Bud Light fires officially their marketing executives who were responsible for the Dylan Mulvaney thing, and the DOJ officially, quote-unquote, rules that Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself. Does anyone believe that? Do you guys believe that, chat? Let me know right now in the chat if you believe that. But yeah, we got a great show for you guys tonight. But before we begin, as usual, if you do want to support the stream, feel free to do so by sending in a super chat. Your super chats are the best way to keep the lights on here in the studio, and also the best way to interact with me, to get your questions, comments, concerns read and answered live on the stream. So feel free to do so. In fact, we got a few already here. $1 for $2 says... sun tanning is an anti-white humiliation ritual for real. Thank you for the $2. No, $1 for $1. That's probably a you problem, because you eat too much seed oil, okay? You eat too much seed oil. You eat too much unsaturated fat, which is, I believe, is the one that's bad for you. Is it trans? I forget which one. But your skin physiologically probably is just not meant to do it, okay? That's what's giving you sunburns, not just the fact that sun tanning, like, white people can't do it, okay? There is sun in Europe. Yeah, there's not as much sun as Africa. I get it. There's sun in Europe too. Vitamin D is good for you. Don't fall for that psyop, okay? The reason you are getting sunburned is probably because there's too many seed oils in your diet, unironically. So try that out. But thank you for the $2. Brendan Crespin sends a member chat, which I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you again. Hey, Vince, how are you doing today? And how is chat tonight? I love you all. God bless. Well, God bless you too, Brendan Crespin. And again, guys, if you guys do want to support the stream tonight, feel free to do so via the super chats. All right, with all of that said, I have nothing else. So without further ado, let's get into the hour of Dao, ladies and gentlemen. We start tonight covering, obviously I was in Texas over the weekend, but Donald Trump did a string of speeches. He actually did one in New Hampshire today as of a few hours ago. And I'm not going to sit here and react to the whole thing because it's not live. But there was a segment of it that I watched that I do want to play and basically sums it up all, where it's A, quite funny, but B, also hits on a lot of key points that I do want to discuss. So let's just get right into that, okay? Here is Donald Trump's speech a few hours ago in New Hampshire, I believe. Here you go. Oops, there you go.
Somebody said, you know, for a guy that got 80 million votes, okay, he didn't get 80 million votes. For a guy that got 80 million votes, you know, when they see, like today, I saw the hats, I saw the this, I saw everything. I see scarves with Trump, win, you won, 100 different things. And he said, the guy got 80 million votes. Nobody's ever seen a hat saying Biden. It's true. I never thought of it. Look at a beautiful woman here. Trump. They're all Trump. Trump, we drive you crazy. Look at her. Look at that beautiful. No. You go to a Biden rally, nobody shows up. Remember the circles, those beautiful circles? That was the best thing, that those circles were so professionally done. If I ever need a good painter, they were, but they'd have 8 circles. They couldn't fill them up. They had to get the fake news to fill them up. They couldn't fill them up. But
do you guys remember the Biden circles? So part of the reason I left this in is A, it's hilarious. B, it shows that Trump still does crack jokes, because I know people say he's not funny, he's not charming anymore. I've tuned into this and I was like, I don't see that at all. I see very much vintage Trump, but it's true. Remember those circles? But of course, yeah, supposedly he's the most popular president in history, right? All right.
But think of it. Did you ever see anybody walking around with a Biden cap? This is the #1 selling hat in the history of the world. There's never been a hat that sold like this whole thing. Whether it's MAGA or Make America Great Again or Trump 1. They have a lot of them Trump 1 people walk around, but they don't walk. I've never seen a hat. Has anybody, raise your hand, has anybody seen one person wearing a hat saying Biden anything? Anybody? Because I really don't think I've seen one. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Brandon, you know what? Maybe the press would wear one. No, the press doesn't even wear them.
You know what that does go to show you, though, is how strong the Democratic political machine is. That's really what it's about. Because they can put a literal fossil there, okay? A guy who, sometimes in a way that he's just mentally deficient is kind of funny, but besides that, has no anything. He has no intelligence, he has no charisma, he has no ideas. A charisma, of course, besides the senile grandpa jokes, which I'll give him that, but that's it, right? But they can put someone like that up there. They can put someone like John Fetterman, someone who campaigns from their basement like Katie Hobbs, every single time and be just fine. Why? Because their political machine is that strong, right? Where you can have a candidate that nobody is enthusiastic for. Most Democrats will even tell you, yeah, Joe Biden, you know, they'll make fun of his dementia. But still, because their turnout, their built-in machine, especially post-2020, the way they've set this up, but even before that, they were getting good at it with the mail-in voting, ballot harvesting, all of that stuff. It does go to show you how strong the Democrat machine is and how much catching up we have to do, which is an important point. But yeah, Trump is right. Nobody's enthusiastic about Biden, but they have such this built-in turnout going. They just, you know what I mean? They just get those ballots in the system to where that doesn't even matter. And that's going to be the challenge for Trump or any Republican candidate in the future is we're 10 steps behind here, right? But we need to start building that same type of political machine that goes to the small towns, that goes to the nursing homes as they actually did in Orange County, California, and just gets ballots. That way, no matter who's on the ballot, right? No matter the candidate's good, bad, it's a bad day on election day, whatever, we have this guaranteed baseline of votes. That's what we need to work on. By the way, thanks for the super chats, guys. I'll read them after this.
Never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the only ones who can stop them. And if these corrupt persecutions of our people succeed, they will complete their takeover of this country and destroy your way of life, and it'll be destroyed forever. You're never going to be able to come back. This country is so far down right now. We're really, truly a failing nation.
True.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
So sorry to keep pausing. I don't want to pause too much, but I saw this very thing today was clipped by Republicans Against Trump, that group, because he said we are a failing nation, and they went out there saying Donald Trump is unpatriotic, blah, 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 this and that. So let me say, though, right? He said he doesn't love his country. He says it's a failing nation. No. And let me say this to all Republican candidates. We are a failing nation, okay? The United States of America is not what it was in the 1980s. And portraying, sticking to that cliche, when things are so tangibly bad, when regular people cannot afford homes, when regular people cannot afford to live, our country is divided, kids are being taught in school to hate their own country, hate their own race, hate their own people, whatever, right? That's a failing country, okay? And it is actually very important that Republican candidates like Donald Trump go out there and acknowledge it instead of, again, appealing to those old cliches of, well, America's the land of opportunity. To a degree, perhaps that's so true, but is that really so true anymore, right? Because I see a lot of opportunity dying and all of this stuff. And unless Republicans really are able to recognize this and appeal to this sense in a lot of people. It is so tone deaf for all these other candidates to go out there and say, well, isn't America so great? We're the land of opportunity. You look at all my opportunity. When normal people are looking around and saying, actually, I lost all my opportunity. Actually, this is not a succeeding country, right? That's why Make America Great Again resonated with so many voters in 2016, because that implies right now America is not great. America is failing, which it is. And frankly, I'm not going to support any Republican candidate who goes out there and appeals to the cliche of, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Everything is good in America, don't you know? Which, yes, you should pull yourself up by the bootstraps because no one else is going to do it for you. I'm not counter-signaling that inherently, but it is completely tone deaf to sit there and pretend like the country is going well when it's not. And it is not unpatriotic. It is not unloving of your country to recognize the state that it's in. In fact, it is the most patriotic thing you can do, right? A very unpatriotic, a very unloving response you can have to the state of your country is to look around at everything going on right now, how hard it is for ordinary people to live normal lives in this country, how much the ideals that the country was founded on are being erased. It is unpatriotic, it is unloving to look around and say to that, I don't see anything wrong. This country is still great. It's not great. That's why we need to make it great again. And to all the rhino Republicans who don't seem to get that, you are tone deaf. You are out of touch. Grow up. It's the 21st century. Stop living in a fantasy land in a bubble. I thought you accused liberals of doing that, but I see it seems to be more so you guys who do that, right? And wake the heck up. But I'm very glad he said this. He says this a lot. I know this caused controversy. I'm 100% on his side. America is a failing country. So.
And they want to silence me. True. They want to silence me because I will not let them silence you. That's what's happening here. It's an amazing thing, and it's a great honor for me. I have to be honest, it's a great honor. And when I see those poll numbers like I saw today, Morning Consult just came out with a great one. Anselm just came out with a great one. They don't love me, but they just came. There's only so much they can do, right? But in the end, they're not after me, they're after you, and I'm just standing in their way, right? We know that. It's no wonder the swamp is getting truly desperate as they see us leading with these kind of margins that very few people have ever seen before. True. The new Morning Consult poll.
They are scared.
Just out like literally 20 minutes before I came up. 57% President Trump. The sanctimonious at 19%. He's heading. Question is, when will he go to third place? Somebody said, how come you only attack him? I said, because he's in second place. Well, why don't you attack others? Because they're not in second place. But soon, I don't think he'll be in second place, so I'll be attacking somebody else. Like we're intelligent people. Let's attack the one in second. We don't have to attack the one in third, Steve, right? Steve told me that. Don't attack third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. Worry about two. As they keep coming up to two, we keep sending them back to the dry cleaners, right? In last week's Big Village poll, we lead the field by 41 points, with us at 56 and DeSantis at 15, and Nikki Haley at 4, and Tim Scott, who happens to be a very nice guy, actually, at 3%, and Mike Pence at 2%.
Yeah, the rest of this field is a joke.
Actually, Vivek.
Except for him, yeah, that's true.
Ramaswamy is leading most of our candidates. And you know why? Because he says Trump is one of the greatest presidents in the history of our country. And I said, I like that guy.
Well, that, and also the fact that Vivek is the only candidate besides, I guess, Trump and DeSantis, sort of, that actually has ideas, right? Because the rest of the field is just a bunch of neocons who do the very thing I said before. They just appeal to Reaganite cliches and don't really offer a vision for the future. So it's true.
Like him.
I like him too.
I said, are you sure he's running against me? That's a pretty severe statement, but he's very good. He's actually a pretty good guy. In a recent CBS poll, we have 61% of the Republican primary vote. Think of that. In the Harvard-Harris poll that just came out, we have a 25-point increase from January. 25 points, not percentage, points. That's big. In New Hampshire, we have a 47% to DeSanctimonious with 13%. And by the way, he's holding an event right now, which is considered not nice, because candidates go through. It's not really nice, but he's holding an event right now to compete with us. There's only one problem. Nobody showed up. So he's having a little problem explaining that. And I'm proud to say we're polling especially well among women, very well among women. You know, they always say, oh, women. Women. How are you doing with women? Women want security. Women want a strong border. Women want low taxes. They want good education. They want good schools. They don't want to have all this gender cutting up their children things. They don't want to have, as an example, men in women's sports. You know, you're seeing those records. Remember, I used to talk about it a year ago. I'd say women and men, and I'd imitate the weightlifter and I'd imitate the swimmer, talk about the swimmer, that he won by so much that the young woman suffered horrible, horrible wind burns, right? I tell these things, you know, she suffered greatly, the wind, by him going so fast by her. The wind was so strong that it hurt her. No, it's very unfair, and it's actually very demeaning to women. You got to see the weightlifting ones. You have to see the weightlifting ones. This guy gets up, he never lifted before. Have you lifted before? A young woman almost broke the record. She was an eighth of an ounce away. And this guy walks up. Thank you very much. Have you lifted before? No, I haven't. Bing. You know. The whole thing is crazy. And it's very demeaning and very bad for women, and it's going to be ended. And we ended it, and then these guys came in and they started it up again. Who would think of this, though? Who would think that that's a good thing, right? Who would think that that's a good thing? Who would think, when I always say, you know, I have to say it now because it's a factor, we will protect parental rights. Who the hell wouldn't protect parental rights? Why would you even have to say that, right? You know, why do you have to say that? In one recent poll of Republican women, it was Trump 54% to DeSantis at 16. That's an abbreviation for DeSanctimonious. Most of you have figured it out. The ones who haven't figured that one out probably wouldn't be in this room very long. And we're leading Biden by a lot. We're up by 3 points in the Morning Consult. We're up by 7 points in the Harvard-Harris. And together, we're up by actually 11.5 points in another one that just came out. Together in, how the hell does this guy get votes anyway? But don't forget, I won't say groups, but they have this group, that group, that group, that group, and that group. So they start off with like a base of 35%.
Which we have to win. Do. Okay, so there's the clip. I just wanted to kind of cut out my favorite snippet from it. But yeah, I mean, I thought, you know, he's still funny, still can talk on the fly. I know people have concerns about that. And the idea that he's completely unelectable for 2024, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I still just don't believe it, right? Because like I brought up earlier, the biggest thing the 2024 election is going to come down to is not the electability of the candidate. Really? You just saw John Fetterman, Joe Biden, and Katie Hobbs get installed into office, and you think that's what it's about, right? It's all going to come down to, can we build a political machine to rival the Democrats? Now, I hope Trump has that together. Like, you know, we have a lot of catching up to do, and I'm still skeptical of the GOP as a whole understanding that in 24. But I will say, of all the candidates we have out there, you look at the enthusiasm of Trump. Forget the suburban nerd moderate who's like reading him all this stuff. Again, this is not what it's about anymore, right? That's what the old election system was about. What the new election system is about is, can you turn out your base? That's what it's can you get your base to go and vote for people more than the other base, right? And I'm not saying we have any guarantees. 2024 is going to be a very close election, and anyone who thinks it's not, you're naive. But of all the candidates who can barnstorm rural America and get ballots into the system, again, don't entirely hate DeSanctimonious, but does he have the just charisma to do that? Does he have the ability to do that? I thought maybe it'd be possible before the primary, but I'm seeing him now. It just doesn't seem to have it. None of these other candidates have it, right? Whereas Donald Trump, everyone knows him. Everyone knows him, number one. You know, he's very beloved in rural America to all the people who maybe don't vote. They just are into like naturally conservative things, country music, trade work, whatever it is. He's the type of guy who can go to that and get the ballots out, right? So that's what I'll say, number one. And that's why I say, and then, but also you look at the polls. He's winning some polls. He's losing some polls to Biden. Fair enough. But they're all pretty close. Not a single poll at the moment suggests that Trump is way out of striking distance of potentially winning the election. And I'm not using that as a means to get cocky, nor am I saying to entirely trust polls. Okay, polls are notoriously unreliable. That's all just to say that, you know, when you say that Donald Trump is completely unelectable in 2024, I ask you, where's the evidence for that, right? because I think so. I think so. I just feel like he is, because the polls don't reflect that. Most of the polls show him doing better than DeSantis against Biden. Again, not saying polls are everything. I'm not gonna go along with that, of course, but we understand that, right? So you can't use that. And then just from a logical perspective, again, when you say he turns off moderates, he turns off women, whatever it is, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But as I will reiterate, the biggest thing in 2024 is not going to be that. It's not going to be, can we win the independent voters? We won the independent voters in 2022. That was not the problem. The problem is we did not counter their political machine. And of all the Republican candidates who have the potential to do that, I have no guarantees. I can make you none, but have the potential to know how to do that or have the ability, I think that's Donald Trump. And so that's what I will say, and there's kind of my recap of the highlights of his speech today. Before we go on to our next segment, we got to talk about Bud Light firing their marketing executives, finally, officially. I got to get to these super chats, so I'm going to be reading them right now. If you guys do want to super chat to support the show, of course, it is greatly appreciated as usual, but let's check it out here. Shane Keena for $5 says, Hunter Avallone is running 2016 back, and I am all here for it. I enjoyed myself a nice steak dinner, so I am set. Well, glad to hear you enjoyed a nice steak dinner. The libtards, Klaus Schwab, is not very happy with this. Bill Gates is like, you need to eat synthetic meat. Hey, you need to eat synthetic meat because I'm a DNG, I'm a nerd. You don't eat meat. That has too much testosterone in it. So glad to hear you did it. And, it is true. There is something going on the internet right now where just 2016, the energy is coming back. And even Hunter Avallone, which we'll talk about in the next segment after this one, Hunter Avallone coming back to our side. I'm not going to say that. That's too aggressive, but slowly, like the seeds of that, you see something's going on with him in the head. Very interesting to see. I don't know what's going on, but it is true. The energy is there again, right, on the internet. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, hey, Vince, hope your day went well. I was busy today. Thank you for the $2. Hope you had a busy but productive day as well. Brendan Crespin for $5 says, yeah, sorry for not being in stream much lately. I've been really swamped with writing and work. I will try to be more active. Well, no problem, Brendan Crespin. Glad to see you here tonight. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, I think that Biden supporters are very apathetic about their support for him. He is just the anti-Trump candidate that has enough name recognition. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the $5. That's exactly why they chose him. That's exactly why they chose him to be the nominee, and that's what he always has been. And even as president, I know he has a few shills out there, right? Harry Sisson, that guy on TikTok, goes out there and says, Joe Biden's historic accomplishments. Nobody can name historic accomplishments of Joe Biden, right? Remember under Trump, circa 2019, everyone could name the accomplishments of Trump. Record economy, tax cuts, pulled us out of wars, no new war. Remember being a conservative back then? Remember we had the long list of everything we knew Trump did? No one can name the accomplishments of Biden. That's not what it's even about, right? And so this is true. Thank you for the $5. Again, if you guys do want to super chat tonight to support the show, it is greatly appreciated. But all right, we will move on here to the Bud Light story. Let me make sure we had no super chats on Streamlabs really quickly. No, we did not. Okay, we're good. All right, let's move on here to our next story. So let's check in on Bud Light. Pride Month is almost over. Well, let's see what they've been up to. Well, it turns out today that the Daily Caller investigation has confirmed, actually, that Bud Light has now officially fired the marketing executives who were behind the Dylan Mulvaney stunt. Okay, so you may remember a few weeks ago, they were actually on administrative leave. According to a Daily Caller investigation, they are now officially fired. They're gone from the company. But of course, I thought that Bud Light wasn't really going broke, right? Remember that talking point? Bud Light isn't actually losing money. Target isn't actually losing money. Stock prices change all the time, bro. Yeah, that's why they're firing their people who were behind that, right? Because it was such a smart, brilliant idea. But here's what I would say as a conservative in response. This is too little too late. I don't care. I really don't. Oh, wow, they're gone now. Okay, Vince, you want to drink Bud Light again? No. First of all, it's disgusting. But furthermore, you know what's very telling about this? If they were truly sorry about Dylan Mulvaney, if they were truly sorry for everything they did, Anheuser-Busch would have went out there and said, look, we fired them, they're gone, deepest, sincerest apologies. Yet to date, despite the fact that they've tried to pivot and make these more patriotic ads, Bud Light has never actually formally apologized for anything. And then as we reacted to, if you guys saw the show the other night, I believe Thursday night, where we reacted to their new ad, yeah, they don't have any Transformers in it. They're not being openly Transizer-Bush, but you're still seeing, right, men being emasculated in those commercials. Remember I pointed that out? I said this is the generic corporate commercial where the men still look stupid and weak and all of this stuff, and this is still internalized feminism, what they're promoting to you. And so there you have it. But then on this front, right? Yeah, it's great that they fired their marketing execs, I guess. But why did it take an insider source, right? This is from a Daily Caller investigation. The only reason we know about this is because a source within Transizer-Bush came out there and, hey, Daily Caller, you know they fired them, right? So it means they're actually trying to hide the fact that they fired them. They're trying to quietly go away, right? And the reason why is because Bud Light, yes, to a degree, they sort of want your money. They do want to, they don't want to totally go broke, obviously, but they know that their bigger interest here is appealing to ESG, is appealing to BlackRock, is appealing to, you know, the woke capital that is basically running the corporate economy at this point, right? And so that's part of why they will never go out there and publicly apologize for the Dylan Mulvaney stuff. They won't, and because again, their greater interest is not to you, right? And let me say that until Transizer-Bush goes out there and says these marketing execs are formally fired and we are very sorry that we ever did this. It was a miscommunication. We didn't mean to do this. Whatever they want to say. Until they go out there and formally apologize, they're not sorry. Don't take this as evidence that they are sorry, because they're not. Same thing with Target, right? You saw what Target did with the Pride displays. They said, we're going to quietly move it away from the front of the store in some locations in the South. So they're not going to stop selling it, because if they were really sorry, right, they'd stop selling it. They'd say, this is a mistake. We're not going to do this anymore. Instead, what do? Oh, quietly move it back, right? Which on one hand, as we wrap up Pride Month here, it is absolutely a good thing that conservatives did manage to put some pressure on woke corporations. I can't deny that. I'm still optimistic that it happened, but don't let up now. Okay, these corporations are not sorry until the moment where they truly prove to you that, hey, we're going to formally go out there and say we're sorry. They are not sorry. Quietly getting rid of people is not good enough, because that means you still care more about being Transizer-Bush. You still care more about appealing to ESG, appealing to a very small minority of Americans instead of the actual people who buy your product. And so, you know, glad to see they lost their jobs, but frankly, I think the whole company at this point has to go up in flames. That is what I am rooting for. Figuratively, in a financial sense, of course, is what I mean. But anyways, there's the Transizer-Bush story. Before we go on to the Hunter Avallone stuff, I know we got a super chat here from Sam Nguyen. Thank you for the $10. God bless you. Says, God bless you, Vince. God, please protect our President Trump and our country. USA, USA, USA. So true. Sam Nguyen, my Vietnamese brother. My Vietnamese brother, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you for the $10. GOP Josh says Vince Dow needs a Jeremy's razor. All right, I haven't shaved in see, I'm proving a point. I'm proving a point to the beard movement, okay? I haven't shaved in a few days, and look what happens. Look what happens. See what happens? I break out. Why? You know, me being a fashion icon, as everyone knows, why would I want to grow out the beard and then look disheveled? That's exactly what it is. But I'm gonna shave it later tonight or tomorrow. But I wanted to grow out the stubble for a few days to prove a point that actually I do look stupid with the stubble on, and I feel stupid. Look, I start breaking out around the hair, which of course happens when you grow a beard. So it is very true. But anyway, Sheeny Beanie for $5. It's getting uncomfortable though, so I'm probably just gonna shave it. But Sheeny Beanie for $5 says, attention Christians in chat, pray for based Zoomer that she and her husband had a healthy, happy July 4th baby. Well, thank you for the $5, and we will certainly pray that her birth goes well. Appreciate the super chat, appreciate the support, and we will certainly pray on that front. Grow it out, Vince. The stubble actually looks based. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's not comfortable. It's uncomfortable. It makes me break out. I don't like it. But just to prove, you know, people don't think I can grow facial hair. They're like, bro, you're just low T. You can't grow it. This is only a few days. It's already coming in. Okay. You know how impressive that is for an Asian? You ever seen the other Asians try to grow facial hair? They're not. They all have baby faces. It's true. You can literally see in my face. Okay? I'm not saying I'm the icon of masculinity, but you can see in my face and my hair and all that stuff. Okay? I'm higher T than your average Asian guy. It's true. Which that's not saying a lot, but it's true. It's true. This is proof. This is your proof. Okay, well, let's move on here to our next story, and I will read super chats as usual between all of our segments. Okay, on to our next story, though. So is Hunter Avallone now apparently curious about Christianity? So check this out. You may know Hunter Avallone. We all make fun of him on a regular basis. We call him, soy boy, blah, 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 nerd, all this stuff. He's a very generic liberal debate me YouTuber, but as you may know, he actually used to be a conservative. He is an icon of the old school 2016 anti-SJW stuff. He got married to this woman. He's been a liberal for a few years now, been very annoying, been a menace on our side of the internet. But we have some very interesting developments. Are we indeed back? Well, let me read this for you. So as you know, Hunter Avallone very recently went through a divorce, separation, whatever. Very messy on that front. I believe she was like cheating on him and all this stuff. It was not good, okay? Not good. Genuinely almost had to feel a little bit bad for the guy. But I don't know what's happening here. A little bit of a character arc. He now is considering Christianity. We've seen this arc a million times, right? He's starting to become curious, and then we'll show you in a second, he's actually starting to call out very mildly his own side. So I'm not calling him red-pilled. I'm not saying we're so back yet, but you're starting to see a little bit of a character arc I would think is about to happen here, and we'll see where it goes. But Hunter Avallone tweeted this out today. He says, I've been thinking a lot of the arguments made against Christians regarding faith, because as you may know, pretty sure Hunter Avallone, total atheist, total secularist, right? And he says, I too have attacked Christianity for its reliance on faith, but I've actually started to come around on why faith makes sense, strictly and only in regards to religion. Long post coming up. So he says, in the beginning, God commanded Adam and Eve to not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I never thought about that until recently, but he says, the knowledge of good and evil is our quest for knowledge, our literal knowledge of good and bad. Before then, Adam and Eve walked with God. They worked on faith and God guided them, and they essentially followed blindly. I don't know if I'd really say it like that, because they actually had the ability to walk with God, and so is that faith or is that actually seeing it? Whatever, it doesn't matter, okay? That's besides the point. They operated on faith. It's a psychological fact that most humans are happiest when living in the moment. See, like I said, I don't think he's fully there yet, because I think having faith is basically the opposite of living in the moment, right? You're living for the future, you're living for the existential, for the eternal. But okay, like I said, he's starting to ask questions. That's the point here. But he goes on to say, had we followed God instead of having our own knowledge of good and evil, we'd be naturally operating on faith. In other words, we'd be living in the moment because the worries about tomorrow are out of our hands. The way we were originally created to live was in the moment and be happy. I guess I understand what he's saying in that regard, but we'll continue here. Now, when it comes to salvation, I was really hung up on faith being the key to salvation. I found it really weird that rational thinking couldn't lead me to God. But then I realized if God's gift truly is for everyone, faith is the key. Not everyone is rational. If someone isn't rational, then God's gift wouldn't be accessible to them. Faith is something that all human beings are capable of. That is true. And what I will say furthermore is, Hunter Avallone, because he's a debate me bro, he's a total like, hey, my study says, actually, my study, let me Google my study, right? He's very obsessed with this concept of rationality, right? And rationality, to a degree, I think is important, right? You want to think through the things that you believe. But the idea that any of us are 100% rational beings is nonsense. I would actually argue that human beings are actually inherently, in many ways, irrational, right? We are designed, I would argue, by God, but in many ways, to actually very often just trust our instincts and trust the things we see in front of us, right? Why are human beings afraid of the dark? Well, you could lay out, hey, actually, it's because, the bad things, the predators are in the dark. I suppose, sure, right? But we're born being scared of the dark. It's not something we need to understand nature, and we need to understand predators and biology to understand that. No, we're just born naturally that way, right? And this has been one of my biggest criticisms of Hunter Avallone for a long time, because he goes and tries to find these pseudo-scientific studies that say, actually, gender is a spectrum and all this stuff, when obviously that's being manufactured to try to appeal to his sense of rationality, even though it is irrational. But furthermore, how do you need to know there's two genders? You don't need a study to do it. You just need to look at the world around you, right? And so that's kind of the point on rationality. But now he's started to kind of ask questions and realize, hey, well, this rationality I have worshipped for the past few years, it didn't stop my wife from leaving me. Hey, I know that's brutal, but it's true, right? It didn't stop my wife from leaving me. It's not stopped me from just being like a miserable person, which he visibly is. And now he's starting to realize, actually, faith or something in that regard. He's starting to ask the questions, right? Is sort of fundamental also to the human existence here, okay? And so I feel like that's, I don't speak for him, but I feel like that's the kind of the internal monologue he's starting to have, right? And genuinely, I will connect the two. There is something to be said, right? I think he's thinking to himself, this whole personal situation I just went through in my life, my wife cheating on me, leaving me, all that stuff, being rational and facts and logic the whole time actually didn't save me from that, right? Because I was a soy boy. It's real. And the irrational side of her said, I'm not attracted to that. I don't care how smart you think you are. But anyways, we continue here. That's the whole point. Finding God isn't supposed to make sense rationally speaking. It's supposed to be a leap of faith, because faith is the only way that God's gift can truly be accessible by everyone. I suppose. I get what he's saying here, but what I would say in response is, so you say everyone is capable of faith, but not everyone is capable in your eyes of rationality, which I would actually argue no one is capable of 100% rationality, but fine. So Hunter, why is it that faith is something, in your words, that all humans are capable of, but rationality they are not? Perhaps it suggests that, whether or not you believe we are created by God inherently, maybe humans are supposed to live by faith in many regards. Maybe this idea of total rationality is actually a lie. And it's a lie that in many ways, I would argue, has ruined your life on a personal level. But here we go. Even Jesus's miracles reinforce this. For example, when the fishermen couldn't catch anything, Jesus told them to cast their nets on the other side of the boat. This completely defies rational thinking and even what feels intuitively correct. Plus, these were professional fishermen. So Jesus commanded the experts to defy the rational and instead rely on faith. I mean, that's an interesting argument. I don't know if it's the first one I'd use, but I see what he's saying. This is my argument thus far to establish how and why faith actually makes sense in regards to Christianity. Now this is the cringe part. He says, now that knowledge of good and evil exists, faith isn't a good metric for truth. We have no choice but to rely on our knowledge now to improve the world, etc. Faith should only be used in the context of religion. To which I say to that, I mean, we already addressed that point earlier, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But, the idea is still, and this is the problem still with his liberal worldview. He thinks that we now have liberated ourselves from the need for things like faith and intuition and all the ways human beings just naturally are. And this is the central premise of liberalism, right? It's, hey, I get it. Human beings naturally have these tendencies and these moral traditions and these sort of beliefs that we're in many ways born with, i.e. the genders, right? But now that we have technology, now that we've progressed and advanced, we no longer need these constraints as human beings. That's why we're liberals, right? We can liberate ourselves in this regard. And that's where I do disagree with Hunter, because I say to that, yes, you are right. We have changed as human beings, right? Things have changed certainly on this earth, but fundamentally, I still think that human beings are human beings. We haven't evolved, right? We're still the same on the inside. Technology can change, societal size and complexity can change, but fundamentally, we still need faith as human beings. We can't just say we've moved past it, because we have not changed as human beings, nor, in my opinion, has the greater reality of God obviously changed. So, there's still cringe parts of what he said, but it's interesting to see him, right, starting to ask questions, starting to be a little bit more open to some of these discussions. So he goes on to conclude here, there's still a lot of beep about Christianity that I'm hung up on. This post isn't me coming out as Christian. Rather, it's just my thoughts on faith being internally consistent in Christianity. Well, obviously, Hunter, it is a process. You got a lot of conditioning to break. You got a long ways to go. But, maybe it's time to come home, Hunter. It's time to come home. Let's be real, okay? whatever you want to say. I know for a fact deep down, because I could see it in your physiognomy there versus now. I could see it in your behavior. You were happier when you were conservative. Don't deny it, okay? Because what's happened since? What's happened since you left the right? All that happened is you unironically got cucked, right? Your wife cheated on you and all this stuff. Terrible, terrible. Feel bad for you, in all honesty. But that is the end consequence of a liberal life. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, okay? You can do... Hey, man, my scientists say that there's more than two genders, all blah, blah. You can do all that. You can do that song and dance. But at the end of the day, what he is starting to realize, and many people are realizing, is that, hey, all this obsession with worshiping the experts, worshiping liberalism, it's only a dead end. Even if I think I won these debates, hey, debate me, bro. Deep down inside, the liberal mind is miserable, as it should be. It's in denial of truth. It's in denial of the natural state of human existence, and we understand this to be the case, right? And so I would say, if I were to describe, that's basically what's going on here with Hunter Avallone. It's a very interesting character development, to say the least. We'll see what happens. But to show you more of some recent developments, so he also has come out recently and criticized some aspects of the Pride movement. Now, he went out earlier today and said, or yesterday, today, somewhere, he said that, I can't believe responsibility politics is don't whip your blank out in front of family. So he went out there and said, this is the original tweet, actually. He said, why do people who include nudity and overt displays of kink at pride parades? The Pride Parade, right, should be a family-friendly event so even gay kids can feel accepted. Okay, cringe ending, obviously. But he says, accepting gay people can be easily done without flashing your blank out in front of kids. And then one of his fans replies to him and says, why are you capitulating to fascists? Okay, so all he's going out there and saying is the very basic, not even revolutionary take, hey, maybe these people shouldn't put their genitals out in pride marches. And this person says, capitulating to fascists over their ridiculous fear-mongering will not stem the flood of violence they are directing our way. Stop with the respectability politics. And Hunter Avallone's like, standing against clearly inappropriate behavior isn't capitulating to fascists. Your sick defense of this BS only emboldens their fascistic narrative. So, obviously, right? Oh, wow, Vince, Hunter Avallone just went out there and criticized kink at a pride march. Wow, so revolutionary, right? He's so based and red-pilled for saying that, naked people shouldn't be out in front of children. I get it. Okay, I'm not saying that Hunter Avallone is red-pilled. All I'm saying is that it's very interesting. The past 24 hours, he went out and said something that, even as basic as it is, as uninspiring as it is, of course it's true. I'm not going to give him a pat on the back for it. But the fact that he knowingly went out there and counter-signaled his own liberal fans, knowing that people would get mad at him for it, that does tell you something. I don't know what it tells you something. And then here he is asking questions, right, about Christianity. It's very interesting to see. Okay, so comment your thoughts. Are we going to see a gradual Hunter Avallone arc back? Okay? And like I said, I do certainly myself tie it to events in his personal life. I think that's what's sort of happening here, right? He's realizing that liberalism is a black hole. Maybe he doesn't realize it intuitively yet, but deep down, that's what his soul is saying, right? His soul is screaming out for purpose and meaning because his world's been destroyed, his marriage has been destroyed, and I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, okay? We're praying for you, Hunter. It's time to come home. It's time to come home where you've always belonged and stop being, okay? Stop being miserable. Come back, okay? Let's recreate 2016. That would be such a victory. Having Hunter Avallone back on the internet, it truly would. So we'll see where this all leads. Yeah, Bleach Nationalists, pray for Hunter, okay? Pray for Hunter. Pray that he truly sees the light, right? The Bible also puts plants before celestial bodies. Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's get caught up here on Super Chats, and then we got to talk about our last story tonight, which is that the DOJ has officially ruled that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill him. That Jeffrey Epstein did, in fact, kill himself. Pathetic. But first, we got one super chat here from Burgundy Blue. Burgundy Blue for $20 says, Vince, weird question. What are your thoughts on American colonialism in the late 19th century with the takeover of Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the VI Islands and the Philippines? What should the U.S. do with Puerto Rico and other territories today? Okay, so thank you for the $20 Burgundy Blue, big donation there. I mean, I have no moral opposition to our old school colonialism, the Philippines, Puerto Rico, all that stuff. My problem with America being an imperial power, and part of the reason I think in many ways our principles, and not to be cringe and say that, but it's true, our principles, our values have never set us up to really be imperialistic, are that, you know, inevitably, because Americans, you know, our revolution, you know, our story, you know, our own drive for self-determination, all of our attempts at colonialism, as you have seen, have always devolved into just giving up because, you know, we want to give them our democracy. We want to give them self-determination. So that's the problem with America being imperialist and why I generally discourage it today, because I know how that's going to end. So, you know, I have nothing wrong inherently with it. It would honestly be cool to still have our old empire with the Philippines, and we actually had Cuba for a time, didn't we, for a short period? Or, you know, but yeah, Puerto Rico, all those, you know, countries and stuff like that. As for today, I ideally would like to keep Puerto Rico and Guam and all these places as territories. I don't see why not. You know, hey, it's cool. We have an empire, a mini one, but we have one, right? The problem, though, is that so long as Puerto Rico is a territory, you know what the Democrats are trying to do with it, right? They're trying to make it a state. And that's the problem with America being imperialist, right? It always, because of our need for democracy or self-determination, you know, our principles, quote unquote, it's always going to devolve back into you know, screwing us over in the end. And so, you know, I ideally think we should just get rid of Puerto Rico, not because I want to, because I have no problem with keeping it. But if we keep it, you know, sooner or later, the Democrats are going to give it statehood, which is a huge problem. Not even just from a political perspective. Puerto Ricans don't even speak English, right? The primary language on that island is Spanish. We're an English-speaking country. Oh, it's not the official language. I don't care. We are, right? It would be morally wrong to add a state into our union that doesn't speak English. I don't support that. How is politics supposed to work with that, right? So I'm totally against Puerto Rican statehood, and that's why ideally I'd say just keep it as a territory. Why not? It's cool. We're imperialists. It's cool, right? You know, we got a little empire, but that's the problem with Puerto Rican, you know, territorialship, is you know what they're trying to do with it. And so that's sort of my take on American colonialism. You know, nothing inherently wrong with it, but I think certain problems were always bound to arise from it. You know what I mean? So anyways, all right, let's move on here to our final story of the night, and then we will do our super chats. But one last thing we got to talk about here. So the Department of Justice finally, after many years, has ruled officially, according to the New York Times here, Jeffrey Epstein, let me read it in a nerd voice, because that's the only people who believe this, right? Breaking news from the New York Times. Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide. Actually, the Justice Department confirmed on Tuesday. An Inspector General report pointed to negligence and mismanagement at the jail that housed him. Does anyone believe this, chat? Does anyone... Okay, the one person in chat who actually believes Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, please show yourself now so we can fine you and ban you from the chat. That's a joke, of course. But no, in all seriousness... Yeah, who believes this? Are you guys serious? Why even put this out, right? But I will say, this is also why I don't quote-unquote trust the science. This is a prime example of what is wrong with this whole idea of trust the science, trust the experts. Because what are the experts? What is the science in this country? They cover up for the elites. They're paid for by the elites. Literally, in this case, who does the Inspector General take money from? The U.S. government. Yeah, we understand what's going on there, right? This is the problem. And tying back to some of the themes we talked about in the Hunter Avallone story, this is honestly also my problem with conservatives having this obsession in 2023 with saying that we trust, you know, the data and the studies and the empirical evidence. Because yes, there is sometimes it slips through the cracks, right? There are some stats in this country, there's some data, some research that is still honest and fair. And obviously we praise that. But the problem with trusting the science is you get stuff like this, right? Because all of these statistics and science in our country are heavily politicized, okay? And that's not just true with the Epstein forensic report, which of course, the forensic, Vince, you can stop spreading conspiracy theories now. Don't you know that the forensic scientists said that Jeffrey Epstein did in fact die by suicide? Yeah, really? Is that what they said? Give me a break. Give me a break, idiot, right? But this is the issue, okay? And this is why, tying back into what I said in the first segment, in many ways, this conservative obsession with empirical evidence, I'm not saying it's inherently wrong. I understand where it comes from. It comes from a desire for truth and the things we believe are true. However, the problem with making that the primary slogan going into the 2020s is that look what happens, right? And it's not just the Epstein stuff as an example. Look at the Transformer stuff. That's actually a prime example of the problem with conservatives only believing in the studies and the facts and saying that what I said earlier about, just trusting intuition is actually a problem, right? Because remember a few years ago, all the conservatives went out there and said that the Transformer stuff, Transformer dysmorphia, was a mental illness and that there's two genders and all this stuff. So what do? What did the facts do? What did the scientists do? Well, they manipulated them, right? Because obviously, those things are, right? But they went out there and they said, the scientists, right? They paid the scientists to say, no, actually, gender is a spectrum. No, actually, we're going to unclassify it as a mental illness, mental disorder, right? And so what essentially happened in this country is that the political interests and certain corporate interests, as they do with all of the science, whether that's the food they tell you is safe, whether or not Transformer is a real thing, whether or not that's, anything. Hey, this thing you need to wear, this thing you need to put in your body, you know what I mean? All this stuff. The way it works in this country, because all of our enemies, because the bad people have institutional power, all they do is they will pay some scientists, they will fund a study that says, say this, come up with whatever statistic you can to reach this conclusion. And then what do people like Hunter Avallone go out there and say? Actually, well, the study said this, right? That was his problem. That's the reason he had a downfall, right? The studies, wait a minute. I'm a conservative. I say I'm all about empirical evidence, but all the studies are saying that they agree with the liberals. Well, they're not agreeing with the liberals because they are true, right? You'd be stupid to believe that. They're agreeing with the liberals in the past few years because, again, right? When they control the institutions, they are able to basically control the facts. They can bribe scientists in this country. They can bribe statistics. We know how corporatized America is in this regard, right? They will pay so-and-so, lobby will pay scientists to say this conclusion. Hey, this is safe. This is good for you. Okay, here's your money. And now we can tell the public that it's safe and good for you, right? And that's why I say in many ways, with this stuff, with Jeffrey Epstein, with the Transformers, with a certain thing that they wanted you to put in your body, in many ways, conservatives, I know it counters a lot of things you hear. I think in many ways, conservatives have to just learn more, and people in general just have to learn more to trust their instincts and to trust their intuitions. Okay? Because yes, empirical evidence is great. I wish we had a medical and scientific and statistical system in our country that allowed you to have that's actually true and not biased and not paid for. But that's the reality. And when we're stuck with that reality, in many ways, we just have to rely on intuition. Of course, there's only two genders. Of course, there's only male and female because, obviously, that is true. You see it to be true. You can see it with your own eyes. You don't let the scientists who want to come along and manipulate you just say, no, actually, that's not true because the scientist told me so. No, you're born not. And genuinely, you may call it irrational, but I believe as a conservative that there are many things we can simply observe to be true because we see them clearly to be true in the natural world. And human beings have lived like that for thousands of years. I don't think you particularly have to overthink some of these things, right? And I don't know if we're going to have a choice going forward, unless all you guys who care so much about the statistics and the data all say, okay, well, I trust the scientists now. Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself, whatever. This is where we're going to have to, go to, right? And going back to this, remember that whole thing they wanted us to do? Remember that? Remember this thing? Remember? And then a lot of conservatives said they didn't want to do it. Well, think back to the initial moment when they announced that, okay? Now there is more evidence that comes out that backs us up on this question. But do you remember at the start of the PSYOP, there was no actual science saying that this thing was, blank, right? There's no science to back that up. Besides some anecdotal stories, all of us, and let's be real, okay, as much as you want to say what I'm saying is wrong, all of us at the start of that PSYOP literally just said, I'm not going to do it because my instincts tell me that this is a PSYOP, this is bad, blah, 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 this and that. And guess what? In the end, we were right? We were right. But all the conservatives who countered that, and you know who you are, all the conservatives who said, well, actually, you know, the science and this and that, the experts are saying it's fine, and I believe them. And all you conservatives, you know, who claim to be about the facts and over the, you know, then you guys are being irrational by not doing this. Who ended up being right and who ended up being wrong? Right? It is to say, again, I'm not saying don't care about facts, don't care about truth. But it is to say, when it comes to trusting the experts, when it comes to trusting the data, the studies that you are shown by the experts, conservatives can't do that, okay? You can't do that. And in many ways, going forward with political debates, we are going to just have to be comfortable enough with saying, yeah, there's only two genders, because that's obviously true. Yeah, look around you. I don't care what any lab coat says. Actually, there's a spectrum. I don't care. You're an idiot. Like, you're just dumb. You're wrong. Yeah, and everyone who just looks around in the world knows that you're wrong. I don't care what your stupid lab coat study says. We're going to have to do that in the future. You understand that, right? Because they control the science. They pay the scientists to say what they want to say. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. There's more than two genders. This stuff is good for you. The food system is good for you. Seed oils are good. Taking this thing is good for you. Wearing this thing on your face is good for you. Right? So are you going to trust them because empirical evidence, or are you just going to be willing to say, yeah, they're just wrong? I don't believe you. Trust your instincts. They're not wrong. Trust your intuitions. They're probably right. I know that it counters a lot of things you hear from conservatives, but it's true. We ought to do it more often. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our main segments for tonight. We will do super chats here as usual until about 9:20, and then I will hop off here. We'll probably do a members block tomorrow night, FYI. I know we've been on and off about doing them. Probably do a members block tomorrow night. I won't do my best in all likelihood. I mean, I could do the same thing I usually do the last few times, which is do one at like 10 o'clock. The problem is none of you show up when I do them later, so I'll try to do one tomorrow night, okay? But yeah, we are now open to super chats, so any questions, comments, or you just want to send it in to support the stream, feel free to do so via these super chats. But yeah, we are now open for Q&A, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, Rowley Gonzalez for $2 says, it was nice to see Doyle reach out to Hunter. Are you talking about the debate that a few months ago, I should say? Or are you talking about something new? I'm not actually sure, but thank you for the $2, Rowley Gonzalez. Abby says, Trump 2024, Clown World, Devil World, US 100. So true. Many are saying this. Dollar for $2. Thank you very much. Dollar for dollar says, Chads, Jesus, Trump, Tate, Burrow, MJ, Elvis, Knopfler. Thank you for the $2. That is, that'd be an interesting painting to say the least. Although I don't like putting Jesus on a painting with, like, you know, just worldly men. But yeah, it'd be an interesting painting to say the least. Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. Potato Head says, wait, I was told this would air at 9. Yeah, I don't know if that was my fault. I swear I put it in for 8 o'clock. The show is always at 8 o'clock. Unless I say something to the contrary. But I guess that's why when I started the stream, there was one person waiting. I was like, what's going on? Did YouTube not put out notifications? I was quite confused. So I don't know if but I swear, I don't know if it picked up the time zone wrong. I swear I put in 8 o'clock. Like, I legitimately swear I put in 8 o'clock. So I don't know if it was the time zone, it was taking some other time zone. I don't know what was happening. But the show, okay, listen, unless, as I say every night, okay, unless I explicitly say the show's different the night before usually, or announce it, the show always starts at 8 o'clock, okay? So I don't know what happened there. No, that was so stupid. But yeah, sorry about that. I don't know if that was me or YouTube, or I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I have no idea. But glad you're here. Glad you made it in. Brendan Crespin for $2 says, update, I still love all of chat. It's so true. Rami says, how about them Gators last night? I don't want to talk about it, okay? We need to do a recount of the runs, okay? We need to do a recount. Rami, you gonna explain to me how in the third inning, the Gators were up 2-0, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of runs came in for LSU, 100% all for LSU. Did you see that? It was like this, and then it just went up like that, all right? We need a recount. We need an investigation until how this happened, okay? We need an investigation. Very true. Jonathan Fields says hello, Vince. Hello, Jonathan Fields. Good to see you. Good to see you. So let's see here. When I went into the waiting room at 4:57, it said it didn't start until 6 p.m. Yeah, people, I'm deducing that now, which is why there was one person waiting when we started the show. I was so confused. I was very confused. So like I said, I don't know if I put it in wrong or YouTube screwed up my time zone, whatever. But so I don't know what happened. But at least we're here. Dollar for $2 says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Jimmy Buffett, no cap. It's true. It is indeed 5 o'clock somewhere. That's me starting the show. It's 8 o'clock somewhere. Dude, start the show. Everyone's like, it's supposed to start at 9. Well, listen, it's 8 o'clock somewhere. Real. Thank you for the $2. Burgundy Blue for $5 says if you do a member block, you should do it earlier because more people will join. You can always create content later. Well, the problem is I usually edit the shorts. That's what I've been doing because I've been like running late the past few days. So the problem is I have to put the short out that night, which is always why I have to push it back, right? So what I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm gonna try to actually be responsible and get my short done before the stream, and so that way we won't have that issue. Dude, my hair just keeps... Look at this. Don't you guys hate when this happens? You just have like a stubborn hair. Look at that. I guess we're just gonna have to do the stream looking stupid. At least it wasn't doing this before the super chats. Look at that. Vince, you're making it worse by playing with it. Shh. All right. Actually, it starts with 7 p.m. It's 8 o'clock somewhere. Joey, it's 8 o'clock somewhere. Don't you know? Brandon Crespin says, are you a Shohei Ohtani enjoyer, Vince? Answer wisely. I have no idea what that is. Okay? Do you assume I know what that is? Oh, Shohei Ohtani. You just assume I know what the heck is Shohei Ohtani? I'm gonna have to Google that. Let's see what that... Shohei Ohtani. Oh, he's an Asian pitcher for the Anaheim Angels. Okay, Shohei. I'm gonna guess he's from where? Korea. That's where all the baseball players are from. Where's he from? Let me see. Oh, he's from Japan. Okay. Oh, sorry. Shohei Ohtani. Oh, he back to... Does he when he hits? Is it like an anime? You know what I mean? You know what you guys know what I'm talking about? Real. I don't know much about him. As long as he's not woke, then yeah, I'll be a fan. But I don't know if he is. Has he said anything? He better not. Okay? If he did, we're gonna deport him. But if not, he's good. Shohei Ohtani. I love that name. That is a sick name. Imagine going back to bat, and the guy on the other side's name is Shohei Ohtani. You'd be scared because you know he knows Aikido, right? You know he's karate, just gonna freaking... He has like wizard Miyagi tricks he's gonna put on that ball. He's gonna throw it like an anime thing. That's gonna turn like orange. It's gonna turn orange while it flies. And you're gonna miss, and you'll have like a shock face. And you're like this when you missed. And then Shohei Ohtani is gonna be like, strike one! That's what it's like to bat against Shohei Ohtani. So... yeah, we're cool. We love Shohei Ohtani as long as he's not woke. Okay, in which case we're gonna have to literally cancel him. But dollar for $2 says even at my lowest, I was still a family guy. So true, dollar for dollar. So true. Top tier quote. Brendan Crespin for $5. Thank you very much. Says he is from Japan. He's their best pitcher and their best power hitter. They call him the Japanese Babe Ruth. What a Chad. So he's actually the anime character. He actually is. He's like, are you? You know what I'm saying? You know how it's all still? And then like the crowd is shocked. The enemy team's like, oh, home run. Some Japanese child is like, that's why he's so good. You guys don't know, he has anime powers. He has anime powers. He knows Aikido. That's why Shohei Ohtani is such a good baseball player, apparently. Ramen Head Club says Dodgers went gay, so the Angels are the best now. Well, I mean, haven't the Angels done the exact same thing? The Angels are from Anaheim, which is the conservative part of Southern California, or at least more conservative, I should say. But are they really though? Or are they just... I don't know. We have to see. Vince Dow, you need to do a skit with you being a Russian spy. Kenya zavot Vince Dow? Privet. Privet. Why would I do a skit of me being a Russian spy when I am a Russian spy? You don't need to do... I feel like a skit, it should be you joking about something that you're not, okay? Me being a Russian spy, I do not need to do videos where I'm like, oh, it's a joke, it's funny, I'm a Russian spy. I just am. You understand that? Privet, I just am. So that's the difference. That's the difference, okay? I come to America to, I'm a friend, of course. I'm, of course, a friend. Okay. So, lol Vince as a Russian spy. It's not a skit. It's not a joke. I just am. I just am. You know? I just am. When will you have Victor Shi or Communist Vince Dow on your show? Well, I mean, I don't think Victor Shi would ever come on. Victor Shi is the epitome of a bot shill by the party. So I'm pretty sure there's got to be something in his contract that says you can't go on Republican streams because Republicans will make you look stupid, whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I could try reaching out. I doubt he would ever respond. But it would be fun if he did. It would be quite fun. Victor Shi. Victor Shi is so boring, though. That's part of the problem. You ever heard him talk? Yeah, he has no expression. He's just like... Well, yeah, and I think this is why Republicans are bad and Gen Z is gonna vote for. Boring. You know, no expression in your face. Okay, where's your expressiveness? You know, this is why Harvard says Asian guys have no personality, because you're just like, this was your application. You're just like, well, you know, I think that, you know, Black Lives Matter, and I love, you know, being gay and, you know, all this stuff. Dork. But you show some personality in your speech. But that's what he is. He's a robot. He's just like, Joe Biden. But I mean, I would love to have Victor Shi on, but the problem is I probably bullied him too much for him to want to come on, you know? But it's true. It's true. That's what he's the guy. The guy is so monotone. Yes. All the time. Polish person says, can you speak about the Ocean Gate submersal? I know how to say this word. Why did I haven't heard that. Okay. I mean, I talked about it on, what was it, Thursday or whatever, but, you know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate what happened. It's very sad. I'm not here to dunk on the people who died at all. In fact, I think they at least went out in a cool way, in a way, right? They went out exploring the world, exploring the ocean as, you know, human beings ought to. So there's nothing bad I have to say, but I will say about the CEO and founder of it. I mean, yeah, obviously the guy cut a lot of shortcuts. And so in many ways, you know, he kind of brought it on, not just himself, obviously, but a lot of other people by irresponsibility, right? Freaking, he parts that's supposed to be made out of metal, he made them out of carbon silicone. He also diversity hired. He said he would not going to hire any 50-year-old white guys because it wasn't inspiring, right? The guy admitted to diversity hiring, and then look what happened. He you know, the submarine didn't work, obviously, right? And I'm not there to dunk or anything or make fun. It's a genuine statement that, you know, it's sad, and the guy shouldn't have cut so many corners. It's very real. But all right, we got 10 or so minutes left on the show. So last call for Super Chats, all right? Let's hit the dono goal. We're about $25 away from a $100 dono goal. So feel free to send it in to support, obviously, either here or on Streamlabs. But yeah, any last calls for Super Chats? We got about 10 minutes left here. Feel free to send them in now. Vince, that was your Italian side speaking, lol. I am very aware, okay? I think that's where my expressiveness comes from, you know? Because I don't talk like a generic Asian guy. Do you hear them? They're like, hi. You know, I think that Republicans are... They all do. I'm expressive. I think it comes from the Italian in me. It's interesting. You know what else is interesting? I don't know why this is. I feel like I look more mixed race as I get older. It's strange. I go back and look at myself in 9th grade, and I guess it makes sense. Because people now look at me and they're like, yeah, I can tell you're mixed. Back then, no one ever could. I don't know what's going on. Like, I have like two beings within me, okay? And like the Italian, it's like District 9 with the alien hand. I feel like my Italian side is starting to take over. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Because recently, too, I don't know, it's just... I've had an obsession with trying to dress like a mafia boss. Some of you guys may have seen that. It's just my aesthetic now, you know, I'm just a mafia boss. Start getting into designer watches from Italy, from Italian brands. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with me. There's an Italian, like, monster inside my soul that's just, like, taking over. It's just consuming me now. It's consuming me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, Brendan Crespin for $5 says his name is pronounced Shohei Ontai. Shohei Ontai. His nickname is Showtime. That is a cool nickname. He also uses an interpreter, so I don't know how much he'd say liberal-wise. So this Chad doesn't even speak English, okay? Imagine that. Imagine you're playing baseball, American League. You don't even know what people are saying to you, right? You don't know what your coach is saying. You're just that good. You're just like, well, you didn't anime hit. Psh. What a king. We love Shohei, or Shohei Ontai. Shohei Ontai, okay? Vice article, Italian Vince appropriates Vietnam. It's very real. You have comments on that video making fun of me for being, they're like, okay, quarter Italian, okay, quarter white. Because that's supposed to be an insult. Wow. Guys, I'd like to issue an apology for being a quarter white. How dare I? How dare I be born that way? Oh, no. Anyways, Ashley S for $2. Thank you very much. Ashley S says, if you could be in the DC universe, what powers? Well... a good question. I've never even thought about what superpowers I want because it's such a like a not saying you, but in many ways it's such like a loser question because it not saying like you're asking a loser question. It's just it's a loser thing to think about because who sits around and is like, I wish I had superpowers. I wish I like what you wish. Why don't you just do something you can do, right? So I've never thought about this. So what would I want? I mean, I'd obviously want teleportation. But then again, I don't know if I would want teleportation because it'd be fun at first. But imagine how much of the world you're missing and not seeing because you can teleport. So maybe I'd want to fly, I guess. I've always kind of wanted to fly. I mean, you know, when I was really young, I actually wanted to be an Air Force pilot when I was like 5 years old. Like, for a little bit, I wanted to. So, I mean, I guess I'd like to fly. I guess I'd like to have the powers of Yoga Fire. You know, I could just shoot out of my hand and incinerate stuff and incinerate. You know, like, so I'd like to shoot fire. Is that a thing? Breathe fire, shoot fire. That'd be cool. Besides that, I don't know. What do superpowers do? Super strength, I guess. You know, I guess. Can I make myself taller? Can I do that? Is that a superpower? Okay. Because I feel like if I was 6 feet tall, it would just be over for everyone. It'd literally be over for everyone. Okay. Just infinite Riz powers, infinite charisma. You know. I have to compensate for everything because I'm like 5'8", unironically. So that maybe that's another superpower. Does that answer the question? I don't even know how that works. Rowley Gonzalez says, "Are we bringing back Sharpie Black X on hands?" Thank you for the $2. Okay, that was literally just because we went to the stockyards that night, and so that's why I was still on. Oh, Vince, why you still? I forgot. Would everyone remember? We were just like, okay, hey, look, here's a gun. Let's take cool pictures with it. And now that's what it was. So Scrappy says Vince Dow is not a nerd. I like to think I like to think that is true. I mean, I get it in some ways. I am because I do politics. Like that's inherently nerdy. What a dork. I get it. But in other ways, okay, I like to push back on nerdy behavior. Actually, because that can only lead towards a rabbit hole of destruction. It breeds liberals. It really does. You know, Bill Gates, Mr. You know, it's real. It's real. So, Vince Dow becomes Russian Captain America. So true. Captain Ruski. Kaptan Ruski. Okay? Privet. Menya Zavod. Kaptan Ruski. True. Vince replied to my post comparing him to Korean rooftop shooters. It is. Listen, do I have the picture here? Let's just pull it up. Let's just discuss before we end the stream, okay? Let's just discuss the controversial picture of me. Not really, but there's some people who are just being stupid about it. All right, let's do this. Let's have it. Since it's a topic. If my thing will load here. All right, here we go. All right. Let's have this very serious political discussion about this photograph of me, okay? Considering it is obviously quite controversial with some people. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up here. Here we go. All right, paste. Hopefully this works. Okay, that's not. What the heck? All right, hold on, chat. Technical problems. Give me a second. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Very sad. Okay, here we go. All right. Is it here? Okay. All right, let's have a serious discussion about this photograph, okay? Because I'm getting called things for this photograph that I feel like are an insult to my heritage, okay? So as you guys may know, some of you, I was in Texas this weekend. Took this cool picture of myself, as you can see. But everyone kept see, this is an insult. Everyone kept making the rooftop Korean joke, which obviously I don't find offensive. However, nothing about this is a rooftop Korean, okay? You see the rooftop Koreans? They're like nerdy Asian guys with glasses, but it's funny because they have guns, okay? This is an insult to my quarter Italian heritage, okay? Who I am taking after here is my Uncle Vinny, unironically, okay? It's not my rooftop Korean era. It's my, like I said, there's the Italian monster inside of me slowly taking over my body. And, he told me to do this. He was like, you need to stop being a nerdy Asian guy and do this instead. And so that's what's going on here, okay? Stop saying it's rooftop. It's not rooftop Korean. Rooftop Koreans don't have this much drip. Do they have this much drip? No, they don't. Helen Savannah says that pic is badass. I love it, lol. It's true. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had some guys. Let me say this. The reason I want to bring this up, okay? So I had some guys, and it's funny because you could all tell by their physiognomy. They were all dorks. They were all nerds. But some guys coming in my comment section saying, this is kind of... Literally, and I kid you not. They all, you look at their Instagram profiles, every such case, they're all dorks. But it's like, this is kind of cringy. This is just so extra, bro. It's so extra, bro. No, listen. Honestly, that's such a psyop. The idea that, like, men don't have the right to, I don't know, I guess be cool, to look cool, to dress nice, to just be cool, right? That is such, in many ways, I would argue, a feminist psyop. Because there's this idea, it's like, And a lot of conservative men, though, kind of misleadingly subscribe to it, too. Like, oh, well, why should you take pride in how you dress? Why should you care whether or not, I don't know, you look cool, you look like a Chad, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's actually such an emasculating way that they try to degrade men, to tell them, yeah, whatever, just be a slob, just look stupid. Like, I feel like there's something to be said. And this is part of the reason, if you go on my personal Instagram account, I actually, like... It actually looks cool. Like, it's not just random pictures, you know what I mean? Because I feel like there's something to be said about men carrying themselves like kings, looking cool, being drippy, caring about how they dress, caring about how they present themselves. And, like, I don't think that's gay at all, right? That's what they say. Oh, no, bro, if you like, want to wear nice clothes and be cool and look presentable, that what are you, gay? What are you, a woman? No, that's a psyop. It's actually, I think, it's a defining part of masculinity, actually, is carrying yourself with dignity and honor, right? And I think a part of that is, presenting yourself in a cool way, dressing cool. I'm not saying have an Instagram like a girl, but I do think there is something to be said about, actually being drippy, being swaggy as a guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think, and so part of the reason why I post pictures like this on my Instagram is because I'm trying to inspire that in the young men who follow me, right? Because there's a big psyop, obviously, you know. I see it all the time too, you know, teenage boys, they just, especially the conservative ones more so, like they just kind of dress like, not saying you have to all be like me, but they dress like slobs. They kind of just don't care. And I think that's wrong. I think you should care. You should present yourself in a way that people look at you, because there's a credibility aspect, right? People look at you and like, that guy's cool. That guy's a king, you know? Not saying it defines who you are on the inside. I'm just saying if you want to be taken more seriously by the world or being seen like that, then that's what it is. So that's all to say, this is kind of why, you know, I have this thing lately of posting cool pictures on my Instagram, because I think there's something about it that inspires too, you know? Countless dudes in my DMs being like, I want to be this cool. I want to recreate. Someone said they're going to recreate this picture for their 21st birthday because it's so epic. And I'm like, I like that. I like that. I like to see men actually caring about their image and taking themselves more seriously, right? No, there's nothing gay about having a cool Instagram unless you're like posting like a woman. No, this is cool. I want all my followers to post stuff like this on Instagram so that way the world sees, yeah, I'm cool. What are you going to do about it? It's true. You know? It's not materialistic or anything. It's good presentation of yourself. All right, anyways, I'm going to read the last few super chats here and then call it a night. We're at $95 for the night. So if anyone wants to send in one more 5 to hit us at that perfect 100, feel free to do so. It's appreciated. But let's read these last few super chats here. Brendan Crespin says, Shohei's lore is that he's going to win his second MVP in 2 years. He was the MVP? Viva la Raza. Let's go. He says this year he is the best power hitter in all of baseball and the third best pitcher in the AL. Well, listen. He's got the anime powers. What can we say? Real and true. Thank you for the $5. Brendan Crespin for $2 says 3 years. Okay, so he's the second MVP in 3 years. Look at the Asian. Okay? Shohei with his anime powers taking over the MLB. We love to see it. Dollar for $2 says thoughts on epic rap battles of history. All right, sorry to anyone this offends, but epic rap battles of history is not funny. It never has been funny. It's so funny. It's not funny, okay? Like, literally, someone just always screams at the screen. It's very cliche. And I'm serious, it has never been funny. I never found it funny when I was a kid. I don't find it funny now, okay? In fact, they're some of my least favorite videos on the internet because they are so cringe and so forced. And if you find that funny, if you're under the age of, like, 25 and you find that funny, something is wrong with you. I mean that serious. They are some of the least funny content on the internet. I'm Napoleon and I'm screaming, and isn't that so funny? Because I'm screaming like this. Epic rap battle. It's not funny, dude. It's not. It is the least funny content on the internet. You really set me off with even asking that question, dollar for dollar. It's true. I cannot stand epic rap battles of history. Corny, cliche, not funny, normie, jokes aren't funny. None of it's funny. None of it's funny. Anyways, we're at 90 likes. Be sure to get the stream to 100 likes, ladies and gentlemen. Ashley S says, I miss cool men. It's true. It's true, right? It's true. What is wrong with me wanting to look like James Bond? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it. It's cool. It's what dudes should be like. But, you know, there's no superheroes anymore. There's no James Bonds, no Arnold Schwarzeneggers, you know, all the old school cool guys are, you know, going out of business. And so that's what we're trying to bring back. That's what I'm trying to bring back, you know? That's why we got the cigar and the watch and the gun, you know? It's that we're trying to inspire excellence. And I think if we want men to be excellent again, then some of us have aesthetics do matter. They do. It's the same thing with architecture. It's like saying, you know, well, who cares if the buildings are ugly? It doesn't actually tangibly make a difference. Same thing, right? Who cares if you dress like a slob? It actually does. There's something inherent about it. There's something inherent about it, right? It's cool. It's true. So I want all the men who follow me to be cool. All right. I don't want them to be psyoped by the world that, like, you know, freaking, it doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter if you don't take care of yourself. That's okay. Just be a skinny fat slob who just wears, you know, graphic t-shirts and looks like a DNG, you know? No, No, it's not. You don't have to be like that, and you shouldn't be like that. Okay. So we're bringing it. We're making it cool. We're making it cool. We're gonna dress like James Bond. We're gonna have designer watches. We're gonna have guns. We're gonna have sunglasses. We're gonna have all the cool stuff, and they're not gonna stop us. The libtards will not stop this from happening. So it is true. Ashley S for $5 says tech class and martial art will bring back men. Martial fighting, I should say, will bring back men. Thank you for the $5, Ashley. Yeah, it is true. It is true. But I think we need more than that. I think there's more to it than that. But that's definitely a start. It's definitely a start. For sure. For sure. Once I get my physique in, once I start bodybuilding, I want to try to learn how to fight. Maybe like next year or something. We'll see. Pretty busy right now. It's part of the problem, but I want to get into it at some point. Thank you for the $5. Okay, this will be the last super chat of the night, unless we get one more. Andrew M for $2 says thoughts on Norm Macdonald. Am I thinking of Tom McDonald? Let me make sure I'm thinking of the right person. Norm Macdonald. He's a Canadian comedian. Honestly, not super familiar. I recognize his face. I don't know much about him. Oh, he's the guy who roasted O.J. Simpson after the not guilty verdict. Well, I mean, O.J. Simpson was pretty clearly guilty, so based, I guess. Based. I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know much about him. He passed away in 2021. Rest in peace. I don't know. I don't know much about him. You're Canadian. You would know more than me. Apparently he's Canadian. All right, well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I will wrap up the show tonight. Thought it was a good stream. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Be sure to leave a like before you go. Let's get to 100 likes before the end. Oh, Matrix attack. What's going on? It's Jover. It's so Jover. Chat. It's Jover. We have been attacked. Okay? Are we back? Right when we were trying to end the stream, we were attacked by the agents of the Matrix. Shohei Antaigi said he's actually the one who rescued us. Okay. All right, that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Okay. All right, come on. Can we end this correctly? Okay, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Be sure to join us live tomorrow night, same time, same place here on the channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully the notification and the scheduling goes out correctly tomorrow night. But yeah, leave a like before you go. Thank you for tuning in. Consider becoming a channel member at the link in the description for exclusive perks and access to our members block. Thank you to all of our super chatters. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And until next time, Alpha Moves only. Everyone have a very good night. God bless and peace. Shohei Antai. So true. We love Shohei Antai. Shohei Antai. Shohei Antai. Sandra Meyer, there's a members block tomorrow. Not tonight. Tomorrow night. Okay? Alright, see you tomorrow. Konnichiwa. Shohei Antai.